Hi guys, welcome back to the Block Talks with TechTuesdays. Today I have with me Mr. Dominique Eggermont, and he's the CEO founder of WITiMediX. Hi. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor. It's a privilege. Thank you.
Thank
it's a pleasure, really.
So you've seen a lot of businesses expand in your career. What's one mistake you see that founders make when they're going international?
Very often they go in overconfident. They tend to not really assess the situation. And I have worked in many countries across many different continents. And I have learned that you need to have a good, deep understanding of the country you're moving into, number one. And number two, you need to form the right partnerships. And the right partnerships are not necessarily the first people you meet. You need to know the ecosystem, you need to explore, and from experience, you need to have the right government support.
Yeah.
That is my approach. And that's the mistake most people make. They just go in and they think they can go and take the market. Meanwhile, the competition is already there, it's already established. And if you don't have the right network, you will suffer, you will struggle, and you may fail.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about government support, what's one thing you think Dubai does really well that adds value and helps entrepreneurs?
Dubai is extremely well structured, well organized, very welcoming, doing all the necessary to not only attract but to retain, and then to support through education, training, and so on, making sure that companies do not fail, making sure that all the traditional hurdles are somehow slowly removed, and that the challenges are smoothened. There are always challenges in business, of course, and it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't, let's be honest. But basically, we need to ensure that the unnecessary hurdles are removed, and they can be bureaucratic, they can be regulatory, they can be just people. So it's important that the Dubai ecosystem is safe for anyone, for any entrepreneur who wants to establish something in the region.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've led a lot of teams and worked with a lot of teams internationally. What's one underrated skill that you think leaders in today's landscape need to lead successfully?
The biggest, most important skill is listening. Leaders who go in and they're going to tell everybody how they should do things, they got it wrong. They need to look, listen, and feel. They need to use all their senses to absorb. And usually, and I have that experience, it takes 6 months to familiarize oneself with the environment. And then the other thing is, you need to make sure that your approach is inclusive, that the locals who know it's their country, they're very proud of their country, you need to look after them. You need to make sure that you integrate them and that they learn to trust you in the same way that you have to trust them. So you need to empower them, and so the two skills I would say is listening and empathy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very interesting, actually. I've never gotten that answer from anyone before. So you've also led a lot of companies through change and recovery. What's one leadership skill or style that you have when it comes to leading through like uncertain times?
I've actually written a blog on the subject.
Wow.
So basically, for success, you need to consider 5 elements. The one element is attitude. Second element is discipline. Third element is integrity. And the fourth element is respect. And the fifth element is effort. Now, effort in the sense, if you fail, it's because you didn't make the effort.
Yeah.
Meaning, you gave an instruction, but you didn't follow up. You assume that people would understand what you want, etc. That's a big mistake. So, those are the 5 main elements for success. To that, you need to add a very important aspect. IQ, everybody has it, right? You wouldn't be there if you didn't have a basic level of IQ. But you cannot change IQ. But what you can change is EQ. And the question is always, what about self-awareness, self-knowledge, social awareness, social knowledge, knowing how other people will interact and react, right? That's extremely important. But then you need to add SQ, which is your social quotient. And under the SQ, you have the PQ, which is the political quotient. So you can be very, very good with people. You can be really very good buddies, etc. But if you're not good at playing political games, you will fail.
Yeah.
Right? And then a very important aspect is the CQ, which is the curiosity quotient. And the last one is the AQ. Well, there's more. I can go down the whole alphabet, but I'll stop there. AQ is the action quotient. Because if you have no execution, no scaling, you're not going to succeed. So you have to execute. You can have all the best business plans in the world. If you can't execute, you're lost. So you put this all together, and that creates, those 5 elements I've mentioned, that's your management quotient. And what makes it the leadership quotient, the leadership actually comes from trust.
Yeah.
So all these aspects I mentioned are the ones that generate trust, that allow you to be a good leader. No trust, no leadership.
Wow. And talking about trust, you mentioned you've worked across multiple continents. What is the key to building that trust with the local community when you're entering a new market? So,
number one, as I've explained, basically you go in, you look, listen and feel. Listening is so important. So how do you listen? You ask the 5 questions. The why, the what, the where, the when, the how, etc. But you have to focus on the who, the stakeholders. Yeah. If you focus on a single stakeholder and you don't look at the others, they're going to push you away. Yeah. Because you will not have shown the respect that I spoke about before. So you have to be looking after stakeholders.
Absolutely. And if you could describe global leadership in one word, what would it be?
Global leadership in one word. One word for me is trust. Trust.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because everything else that I mentioned sits behind that trust. So if you fail on one of those aspects, you will never have trust. You don't have trust, you will not proceed. You will not go further. And it's your own trust. It's not only their trust. Okay. And when I say trust, I say team. So team stands for together. Everyone achieves more.
Yeah.
So that means you need to be inclusive. You don't do that, you will most likely fail.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching.